Hello again everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed build video in The Sims 4. Happy Sunday. I hope you're all having the most amazing day ever so far and thank you so much for joining me here today. So we are renovating another apartment block today. I hope you don't mind. This weekend I've just been on a little bit of an apartment kick because of the two brand new kits that have just been released for The Sims 4. I feel like they've kind of spurred me on to do these apartment renovations, so I'm not sorry for it at all whatsoever. So we are in the 2B Jasmine Suites apartment block in San Myshuno this time. On Friday we did the 2A Jasmine Suites apartment block, but with this one we're working on the other unit, and we are turning this into like a tiny apartment for a sim who just loves plants. So we do use a lot of like plants, of course, in this build, and a lot of clutter and just a lot of detailing. So I had an absolute blast with this apartment. I genuinely did. Now initially I was thinking I could turn this into a studio apartment, but then I quickly come away from that. But I decided to keep the footage in the video because I like to show you all as much of the process that I go through as I possibly can, because I think sometimes when you're watching speed builds in particular and you're like, how are you getting this first time? Like, what's going on? I don't get it first time, second time, third time sometimes. Sometimes I'm really lucky and I get it on the first go, but more often than not it does take me a couple of goes. So I figured I'd just include the entire footage. The floor plan is a little bit janky, it's a little bit all over the place, but this apartment was inspired by a TikTok that I saw of this woman's apartment, and she absolutely loved plants, and it was just super colourful, super vibrant, and really homey. So that was definitely the catalyst for this particular apartment. So I've just got to throw that in there because I'm now down the rabbit hole of TikTok where you'd like seeing New York City apartment tours and stuff like that, and I'm so fascinated by it, obviously being a builder in The Sims and just really admiring architecture and interior design too. I find them extremely fascinating. So now when I go on TikTok, all I see now are these videos. So there's probably going to be times now where I'm like, I was inspired by this TikTok I saw. So be prepared for that. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, as I've been having a little bit of a ramble, as you can see, the apartment's pretty much already come together. As you can see, we've got like an open plan kitchen, dining, living area here. We've got a separate bathroom. We've got a separate bedroom. We've got an entryway too. It actually works really well, and I'm super proud of the detailing and thought that I put into this apartment. It's definitely one of the more cluttered and detailed apartments that I've done for a really long time, it feels like. I feel like the apartment I put out on Friday was definitely very detail oriented, but this like goes to the next level, like it really does. So I'm super pleased with it. This floral wallpaper as well is from the Decor to the Max kit, which we received last year, and I knew immediately when I thought, okay, I'm going to do this style of apartment, I already knew that this was the wallpaper that I was going to use. Now if you don't have that kit, there is a base game wallpaper that you can use instead of this. It's got like palm tree leaves on it, and I think that would work really well as well. So if you don't have that kit, then don't panic at all. But it is worth noting that this sofa is also from that kit, and the single armchair as well. I do end up switching that out to one from City Living instead. There's just like certain tiny little aspects of the apartment that I end up changing off camera, and I mean like things that aren't necessarily noticeable. It's just that like when I was taking like my test screenshots to make sure that I actually liked the build, I was noticing a couple of bits, and so I thought that was worth noting. It's probably something that you wouldn't even notice yourselves, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Anyway, and then I go through a little bit of a change of heart here with the cabinets, although I did end up just placing those base game ones down just as more like placeholder items to sort of illustrate that was where the kitchen was going to go, and to make sure that I could actually fit everything in here that I could. But yeah, I absolutely love this. I do use a lot of the items from the plant, which is I can never remember the name of the kit with all the plants, and I know that when I finish this voiceover I'm gonna remember it and I'm gonna be really embarrassed. but I use a lot of plants from that kit. There's a guitar that goes in here. We've got a bookcase. The plants that came with the Growing Together pack actually came in really, really handy here, along with this bike with the really cute like floral bouquet in the front of it. I thought that worked super well as well. A lot of the items from the basement kit as well also came in super handy, so I do use a few of them in this build. But yeah, I figured that like because I'd already done like a sort of like cluttered worn apartment, I was like, I want to do another apartment but for more of like a plant lover. So I just think it works super well, and it was really, really fun to put this together. So I'm hoping you have a sim in mind for this, and if not, then maybe it'll like inspire you. That's probably the word that I'm looking for. Maybe it'll inspire you to create a sim to move into this apartment. It definitely tells a story, and I've spoken about this before. I've spoken before about how I love making my Sims builds tell a bit of a story, and I feel like particularly with this apartment and the one that I've just done on Friday, they really tell a story, and I had so much fun doing them. I genuinely did, and I think that really shows as well in the footage and in the end product too. So you'll have to let me know what you think. Anyway, another ramble, but as you can see, there's a lot going on here at the moment. There's a lot going on, and you're probably thinking, wow, Rach, you really went to town on the clutter, right? I absolutely did, and I'm not sorry for it, because I think it looks fantastic. I think it's super realistic as well, because I've noticed that when I've been watching these videos of like these New York City apartment tours, people make the most of their space, and it's not necessarily like, I don't want to say it's not the cleanest, it's probably clean, but like it's not necessarily like the cleanest in terms of like the decor style. It's definitely full of character and life, and again, it just tells a story about who this person is, or in this case, who the sim is who lives in this apartment. So anyway, very exciting. I do end up putting a washing machine and a dryer here as well. And then there is a laundry basket in the bathroom here. I almost forgot to add that, because when I add washing machines and dryers, I tend to forget the laundry basket, and that's just something that I do. Anyway, I didn't do it in this build, thankfully. But yeah, we had a mirror here as well, and just some more decor pieces to try and utilize the space. Now, if you wanted to, you could possibly put like a desk here with a computer on or something. If you wanted to do that, I stayed away from that myself, because I was more into like the aesthetic and how it looked. I don't want to say than the functionality. I don't mean it like that at all, because the apartment is functional. I fully play tested this. My sim was able to do everything they needed to do. But I think in terms of perhaps like skill building, for example, I think a computer would be very beneficial. Now, if you want to, you could put a laptop on the dining room table. That could work really, really well, because in my head I was thinking there's just a single sim that lives in this apartment. I didn't necessarily think that there was like two sims that lived here. I was just thinking one single sim is what I sort of had in my head, and I was trying to envision what they looked like, what they did for a job. Obviously they love plants, so in their spare time they love planting things. They've probably got the green thumb trait and stuff like that. Anyway, this is the one and only bedroom. It's very small, but I feel like that's super realistic for the size of the apartment, because the apartment isn't very big at all. Like, it just isn't. And I've loved doing these tiny apartments too, because I spoke about this in my last build, and I was like, I think it offers you a little bit of a challenge, first of all, because you've got to try and cram in as much of the required items as you possibly can, and then also it allows you to think a little bit more about the space and how you utilize it, and what clutter you want to put where. I feel like with smaller builds, they're easier to clutter than bigger builds. And I know that probably sounds like counterintuitive, but for me, it's definitely easier to clutter smaller builds. Now, you'll have to let me know if you agree or disagree with that, but I don't know. I just feel like it's easier. Anyway, I just add some final touches to the bedroom here, along with some like picture frames, so your sims can add some photographs and really make the space their own. And then I do end up adding a plant just next to this bin, because I was like, it's a plant lover's apartment. There has to be plants covering every single inch of this space. So then we move on to the final room, which is the main bathroom here. It's a really good size actually, and I think it fits in really, really well with the apartment itself. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased with this. I do end up adding a lot of clutter items in here and just making it like a really workable, usable space. And I do use disclaimer, I do use a lot of items from a variety of kits, so that's just a disclaimer that I want to put out there. And also super stoked that we have slots for items on toilets and sinks now. Like that's amazing. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up because that pretty much sums up this entire apartment. But if you would like to download this apartment, you can do right now. My origin ID is RachelPedd. It's available on the gallery. If you'd like to download the tray files, they are available in the description box below. You can get them for free from Sim File Share. But thank you so much everyone for joining me here today. You all take care, and I will see you next time I post a video. Bye!